For the first time in the history of California, both houses of our state legislature are led by Latino Americans. State Senator Kevin De Leon was elected to the position of Senate Pro Tem about a year and a half ago. Then, just last week, a new leader was sworn in for the Assembly. Anthony Rendon is the 70th Assembly Speaker. He represents the community of Lakewood in Los Angeles County and succeeds Tony Atkins, who was termed out. As a lawmaker, Rendon was highly regarded for his work on Prop 1 back in 2014. That was the $7.5 billion water bond which passed. His current priorities include government transparency, childhood education and poverty, and environmental issues. And before getting into politics, Rendon was an educator, an executive director of a nonprofit, and an environmental activist. He lives in Paramount with his wife, Annie. So welcome, Speaker Rendon.
Thank you.
Let's start with what makes this job different from the minute you stepped into it, and that is longevity. For the first time in a couple of decades, term limits have now changed. You may be able to serve in this post for 8 years.
Right.
And just for some perspective, over the last couple of decades, the average speaker served less than 2 years. So what will that stability do?
I think it'll do a lot. I mean, first of all, not only do I have the ability to serve a long time as a speaker, but I'm part of the 12-year class, so all of us will be able to sort of dig in and work on different policies areas for a significant amount of time. With respect to the speakership, it's an opportunity to really provide stability in the House and among leadership.
Why are you making childhood poverty one of your very top priorities?
I worked in the nonprofit sector, mostly early childhood education, for about 20 years in Southern California, mostly in the district that I now represent. I saw, first of all, the impact of poverty and the cycle of poverty. There's 2.5 million California children living in poverty right now. 2.5 million children in California. And in the nonprofit sector, I saw ways of addressing that. So I do know that through early childhood education, through the Earned Income Tax Credit Program, which we did last year, there are ways of remedying it. So I'm going to focus my efforts on doing so.
You also saw really directly what happens when the state cuts money. That those are children and families that are directed, you know, in a very profound way.
Right, exactly. This state cut about more than $1 billion in early childhood education funding at the height of the last recession. We've restored maybe a quarter of that, around a quarter of that. From the perspective of somebody who was providing services to families for 20-some years, that was heartbreaking to see on a daily basis. This job's a little bit different. This job, things can be a little bit more abstract. In my old job, I was used to opening the door to my office and seeing a child care center right there, a food bank there. And those memories are really sort of what informs my work on a daily basis now.
So let's get just kind of a rapid answer on where you stand on some of the issues that I know our viewers will be wondering about, starting with high-speed rail.
I'm supportive of it. The new business plan gives me some reservations, but overall I'm supportive of high-speed rail.
What gives you the reservations? The
fact that it won't start or end, the first leg won't start or end in either of the largest cities in the state.
Okay, but to this point still a supportive. The governor's twin tunnel water project that would send water south underneath the Delta.
Very, very, very expensive, and I'm skeptical of the science. I'm interested in hearing more, but I'm not quite sold yet.
Teacher tenure. Teachers, of course, in a guaranteed position after just 2 years on the job.
Again, I think good teachers need to be rewarded. I think bad teachers who've gone through the process shouldn't be around anymore.
Minimum wage?
I'm in favor of a $15 statewide minimum wage.
Do you expect you'll make that happen?
I expect that it'll happen sometime in 2016.
Okay. Let's talk about, with Republicans in the minority here in California, that we've ended up with a division within Democrats between the progressive or the liberal and the moderate Democrats. Where do you put yourself on the spectrum?
I'm a progressive Democrat, a liberal Democrat. That being said, I've worked very closely with the moderate Democrats, with Republicans. I wrote the water bond 2 years ago. It got over 70 votes. That was Democrats, Republicans, progressives, and liberals alike.
I know that you are not expecting to author any bills as Speaker. Why?
This job is complicated, to say the least. I want to make sure that I spend this first year making sure that all of the chairs have the tools and resources they need, that the body runs in a collegial manner, and all those sorts of things.
All right. Well, I know on behalf of you representing everyone in California as the Speaker, we wish you luck. It's an important job.
Thanks
Thank you so much.